Well, hello once again, everyone. William Stuart here with the Bullshooting podcast and USA Darts. Happy to be back once again with another episode of this one, as we got two guys with us today. Two we've had on the stream multiple times in the commentary booth as well as here on the Bullshooting podcast. First, we'll start off with the man that's going to be at the WDF World Masters, Mr. Ryan Mooneyham. Ryan, how's it going, buddy?
Oh, living a dream, leaving to go do what I want to do.
There we go, buddy. And how about this? We got Sean Green as well joining us from Indianapolis, Indiana. How's it going, my man?
Oh, buddy, I just realized I just put my finger up on the wrong side. I just want everyone to look at the sign real quick just so I can get past it. I'm doing great, bud, to focus back on what we're actually supposed to be doing. It's been a while. I am way whiter than I used to be because it's winter time here in Indiana and it's cold. But other than that, I feel great, bud. Got a little beard action going on, trying to grow it. But other than that, man, just LIVIN. I'm not going to the WDF World Finals, so, you know.
Well, not everybody can do that one, but there's going to be quite a few from North America joining that field, and we're happy to be sitting alongside one that will be at, I think it was SN, Netherlands. I'm not quite sure on that one, but we'll just say the Netherlands for short. We'll just keep it to that one. So kudos to you, Ryan, for making that field. Happy for you, buddy. I'm looking forward to seeing how you do as well.
Yes.
Well, the the biggest thing of it is it's the largest contingency we've had at World Masters in a while. There's a lot of folks that had wild cards from through the COVID that are going back, so they've been able to extend those cards back out, and then of course the ADO is sending 2 years worth of players. So there is a lot of talent from the U.S. in that field, and I look forward to it. I'm really excited to see what everybody does. I'm just myself personally. Maybe I'm a guppy in a Shark Tank in this one.
Hey, many are, my man, many are. But hey, I would have that exact same feeling you are if I was there. But we'll get more into the WDF side of things in a little bit. We do have a lot on our plate this evening. We'll start off, of course, with some Pro Tour stuff, as it's been a little while since we've had the podcast. To be honest, it's been since October. We had a hiccup where Will may have forgot a charger to his laptop when he was in Boston. So, yeah, that wasn't able to happen. So we'll get right into it. The Grand Slam of Darts happened. Congrats to Michael Smith finally picking up a major title after so many tries, so many second place finishes. Kudos to that, man. Sean, what's your thoughts on that win for him, buddy?
Uh, Man, it was so cool to see. If you are on Twitter, you're a Michael Smith fan just because of the way his kids react to when he wins things, whether it's matches, whether it's whatever. He seems like he's a guy from a small city. He seems like he's like the everybody's guy, and just had a monkey on his back and a chip on his shoulder for finals. And luckily, and unluckily, Aspinall shot terrible in the final. Let's say it how it is. He'll be the first one to say it, but he knows that he would rather lose to Michael Smith than anyone else. He said that. It's cool to see just kind of how well Michael did throughout the tournament. 104 average versus RVB in the semis. How about RVB? Can we talk about him for a second too? My goodness. Sorry, I had to. I mean,
No,
it's so cool, man. I've been throwing to darts forever. I've been a huge fan since I started becoming a fan of darts of RVB. And it was cool to see him kind of turn back the time.
for sure, and actually, I was going to mention some mentionables here, just to kind of say a few things here. It was Josh Rock. We got to mention that one in the Grand Slam match in the second round, taking on Mr. MVG. An electrifying match that was. 107 average for MVG, 103 average for Josh Rock, and it was a 9-darter for him. Ryan, did you watch that live, perchance?
No, I didn't get to watch that one live. I watched the finals with Smith and Aspinall, and I watched a little bit of Gates's match, but no, I did not get to see the. I just kept hearing about it and seeing it on Facebook, but I didn't have the ability to bring it up. And then it was over, and you're like, "Holy cow! What just took place?"
Exactly. It was just like I pinned that one the day before on my social media account. I said this one may be one to watch here, and sure enough, it was. You could just tell right out the gate. As I think they had 5 180s in the first 2 legs, I believe. Sean, is that right? Yeah, 5 180s in the first 2 legs. That's just incredible margins. But yeah, we'll get right into it next. You mentioned RVB. It was a top 16 match that really stood out for me with Simon Whitlock for RVB. That kind of stood out. It was just like, oh, these old fellas still got it. If you consider them old fellas, we'll quote that one. How about this? 97.40 average for RVB and a 101.14 average for Simon. I think it was a 10-8 score line after in the end. Pretty good stuff there. Sean, I'll give you the floor since you said RVB was a fan, or you're a fan of RVB's.
Yeah, first shout out to Josh Rock, who actually he is the first person since I've watched darts that I've watched throw a 9-darter live, like on TV or in person or anything. He's the first person I watched. Like I've seen a lot of matches, a lot of events. I always seem to miss that one leg when it happens. So that was pretty cool. I was in the car picking up my daughter from school, and it was right before I got her in the car. I was like, yes, at least it happened now, early on in the match. But hey, I have a question for you. Do you think MVG was really thinking about the fact that he had to play the 21-year-old who was trying to decrown him and dethrone him right away? Do you think that went into the 108 average that he averaged in that match a little bit?
Oh, certainly. You kidding me? I think MVG knew ahead of time. This kid's been on fire. He's been seeing the tables that have been presented by the PDC on other social platforms. I mean, he's on his phone too. Let's get real, folks. He knows that what's out there. So he knows the kind of player that Josh Rock is and will be for the next so on years to come. Yeah,
he's the next guy.
He knew ahead of time.
Yeah, it was cool to see MVG go to a different level himself and just show Josh Rock, hey, I'm still MVG. I'm still have the crown. You can't just come in here even with your 9-darter. Great. I'm not even going to acknowledge it or fist bump or smile or anything about it. Which, by the way, I will give MVG credit. The very next week, he threw a 9-darter of his own in the final of the Players Championship, and he did not celebrate that at all either. So he won't even celebrate his own anymore on TV. So at least he's consistent. But I mean, RVB making it to the semis. What stood out to me is that he won when his opponent was throwing a ton plus average a couple of different times in a couple of different matches. That just shows, that old school timing of RVB was kind of back again, even if it was just for the weekend. That's the one thing that as professional dart players, they seem to, the one hump, they can all throw those 100 plus averages from time to time. Obviously, the more consistent ones who do it the more often will obviously win more, but Josh Rock didn't win right away, and he was averaging well over a ton. It's because timing is so important in darts. If you're at 200 and you don't leave that easy finish and stuff. So it was cool to see RVB kind of get back into that aspect of things, and I think that's the one part of Josh Rock's game that is yet to really occur is in timing situations when he needs to hit a big shot with 144 left and your opponent on 40 to really take control of the leg. Are you going to be an MVG and hit that and just rub it in his face, or are you gonna, give him another opportunity at 40? That's the difference there. And so it was cool to see RVB kind of turn back the time a little bit and get that job accomplished. And now it's exciting for the World Darts Championship. You never know what these guys can do, and it's wide open. I think the field is the largest it'll be on like potential winners per se, all the way up to number 33, maybe.
Well, you're certainly right there, man. RVB shooting avoiding 2 ton plus averages. It was that 101 we mentioned from Simon, and he also had that top 8 match with Gerwin Price that he threw a 99.64 and a 16-13 win over Gerwin. And Gerwin threw a 101 average. So yeah, just getting that kind of thrown at you every which way, and you're just avoiding the punches and going for it. Man, it speaks volumes to the kind of player that Raymond is, and to think where he was a couple years ago or even a year ago to now is pretty incredible that he's back in the World Championships after getting his tour card just this year through Q School. He had to go back to Q School. Let's remember that, folks. So He did in the semis. It was Michael Smith with a 104 average, RVB with a 94. 16-12 loss there, but he battled there towards the end. Ryan, what's your take on RVB there at the Grand Slam?
Well, so you think about it, is he battled 2 ton-plus averages. That brings out that 5-time world championship mentality. That takes out the, I don't care what you're doing. I'm here to win legs. I don't care what the averages do. I'm here to legs. Here's my out. I'm taking it out. Let's go to the next leg. 101, 102, 103 can start rattling your opponent without experience, and RVB's experience, I think, is what carried him to the semis. And now you take his experience, you have a confidence boost like the Grand Slam. Here comes the World Championships. He's been successful in it. He may not be the higher seed, but he's gonna put some people on their heels. You watch.
I'm going to have to agree with you there, Ryan. I think he's certainly going to be a player to watch out for in the World Championships, along with numerous other individuals that maybe don't have that big name behind them or that we don't hear on the big stage very much, but watch out. Some of those youngsters are coming. In the finals, it was Michael Smith with a 96 average over Nathan Aspinall with a 90 average. 16-5 was the score line there. Michael Smith, of course, rolling on the ground a little bit, letting everybody know there were some emotions behind that, and I think he deservedly had the right to do that one. Kudos to him, finally lifting a big title, and I think that he's due for many more titles down the road now that the door's open. He's gonna shove that thing open. I believe. We'll see. What's your thoughts, Sean?
Just final thought on Michael Smith. It's got to be a scary thing for all the rest of the PDC that he finally got that one title. It's like in golf. No matter what your score line is, even if you're a hundreds player, 90s plus player, an 80s plus player, a 70s plus player, once you break that score line, 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s, it becomes so much easier to repeat that. It's the same thing for Michael Smith now. He's won a major championship. I believe Peter Wright won the Grand Slam maybe a year or so before he won his first World Darts Championship. So it's bound to happen, and it's probably going to happen sooner rather than later. He's got to be one of the top 2 or 3 favorites this year, just because of that win.
Yep. Just before we go on any further, I wanted to mention that we do have the chat up on the Spirit computer. So if you have any questions for us, definitely drop that in our comment section. We'd be happy to answer them for you. Sorry, we get a little shake of the poodle. Is not usually down here. Now he is, I guess. Maybe Mama let him down. I guess. But yeah, shout out to Jeremy Byrne, Johnny Lackey tuning in, as well as Sean Rosner, Scott Hanish, of course, Brendan Jacques, all the way up from Newfoundland, tuning in as well. So
nice.
Happy to see some Canadians joining us here for our podcast. But moving on, youth darts is our next topic. Of course, the World Youth Darts Championship just happens, and a familiar name was in the final on that one. And Josh Rock. We're going to just keep mentioning him, I guess. It was Nathan.
The Josh Rock show?
I guess so. He beat Nathan Gervin 6-1 in an impressive fashion. How about a 102 average overall for Josh? And Nathan shooting an 89. Both 21 years old. So we consider youth. What's the age on that one? Anybody?
24 and under. Yeah, it's like 24 by a certain point.
23, 24.
Yeah. That's what I figured. Which is
it's a weird one.
Some people kind of shake their head, but you do see. I mean, Danny Anson was in the field, as well as numerous other PDC players. Josh Rock, a PDC player, and it just happened to where Josh and Nathan Gervin ended up in the final, and Josh Rock took it, and that average is a great average. That's the best average they've had in a World Youth Championship so far, and they've had 12 of them. Of course, Dimitri Vandenberg winning 2 of those, one with a 100 average and one with a 101 average. But Josh Rock pulling out the 104. Boys, the talent level is just increasing, isn't it?
How would you like to be Nathan Gervin before that match? Like, you're going to play on TV. You're excited about that, but then you also know you're going against Josh Rock, who's going to average most likely a plus or above a ton, who got out of that tournament early on and then practiced for a couple of days, and you're like, oh great. I thought at least like maybe the tournament would, have his attention a little bit more. It might be a little bit what happened to Joey Lanaw when he played in the Evolution Tour finals at the CDC or the Continental Cup. He was hoping maybe for a deep run from Josh, and then Josh gets out in the first round. Nathan's like, great, my one shot here, and now it's spent. I mean, to average 90 is still great for that. But when your opponent averages 104, you say thanks. This has been frustrating, but I'll take second and we'll move on. By the way, I do want to give a hats off to Joey Lanaw for making the top 64 of the World Youth Darts Championship. And then he did even better in the JDC and Gibraltar that we're going to talk about here shortly, or not him, but Team USA, Team Canada did fantastic there. But yeah, so hat off to him too. He went up against Keen Barry in the first round or in the top 64. I mean, if you look at that field, you're like, half these guys are PDC pros, which is crazy. That's a crazy field. Well, Ryan, if you had to take on that field, how would you feel with that? Age doesn't matter at that point, tank.
Right? No age. I'm a guppy in that thing. I mean, come on. Joey has played so well. I kept watching his score lines and let's go. And we're starting to see our players are making presence on the world stage, and now our youth are coming through to make the presence on the world stage. It's just going to catapult all of North American darts into the international scene the way we should have been, but we haven't been able to for the last 20 years. So Joey's set the bar for the youth. You got to come over here. You got to make the top 64, top 16. We'll see some top 8s. You just watch. We got some good kids coming up.
Well, we're going to get right into it. Actually, we got some amazing kids. Some talent level is definitely on the rise because we'll get right into it. We had JDC and Gibraltar, as you mentioned, Sean. We're going to give those kids a little recognition because they certainly deserve it. Team USA here, as that's Ryan Alvino, Caden Anderson, PJ Stuart, and AJ Mari. I got PJ and Caden flip-flop there. PJ's got the little beard residue on there, which makes me highly upset that I can't even grow a beard, and this young man is.
I used to be taller than all of them.
And now they're just giant individuals. Moving on to Team Canada, Nicholas Desrosiers, AJ Dempsey, Ethan Marshall, and Eric Tang are your individuals that went over there and competed in that one. And let me tell you, some respectable finishes from really a lot of those individuals. Well, what do you think, Sean?
Man, we had 3 North Americans in the top 8 of the JDC World Championships. 3 in the top 8. I mean, that's almost 50% of the field. PJ Stewart had to play Ethan Marshall twice in a row, 2 days in a row, and both those guys battled so hard. The first day for the MVG Classic went to Ethan Marshall. He finished top 4 before having to face against the unbeatable under 18 or 18 and above. And my name, the name's slipping for no reason. It's
Luke Littler.
Yeah.
Luke Littler.
Yeah, just Littler. No big deal. Who, when he needed to average 100 plus, he just would. And when he could average 75, he just would. And that's, hats off to him, first of all, he won everything. Again, he swept the whole thing. But, to have Caden Anderson, PJ Stewart, and Ethan Marshall in the top 8 of the JDC Youth World Championship is, it's so cool, man. PJ Stewart, my heart breaks for him to be one match away from playing on stage with Ali Pally, but at the same time, man, what a future does that kid have, just having that experience. Ethan Marshall, that was my first time watching him play. He was so good. Yeah. They were all so good. I was impressed. They went over there and just did us proud. And how about Nick DeRossier's hair, man? How do you get that flow going? He helped us out with the CDC with being a caller for us, a referee, a board official, and he hats off to those guys. They did awesome.
That beautiful hockey hair. Gotta love it. Overall, yeah, Team USA made it through the round robin stages in the team event. Unfortunately, being beat by Team Germany, and then Team Canada unfortunately didn't make it through the group stages. But as you mentioned, some mentionables: Caden Anderson, top 8 in the Winmau Junior Darts Open. So there was actually 3 events that happened throughout that weekend, or 4 events, sorry. And then he took a top 8 in the JDC World Darts Championship. PJ Stuart, top 8 in the MVG Masters, and then the top 4 in that JDC World Championship. And yeah, you mentioned it, a little heartbreaking there. I think he's going to know that one because looking at
You
that
didn't have litter earlier on.
Yeah, looking at that live stream,
Yeah.
72 out,
Frustrating.
and his opponent was going at 20s.
Yeah. Yep.
And PJ knows. PJ just knows in the back of his mind. He's like, I had that guy hook, line, and sinker. So it's unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is. He's got a long future. And then young Ethan Marshall. Do you know how old, either of you know how old Ethan is? I'm pretty sure
I don't.
I'm pretty sure he's 13.
That's so
I'm pretty
cool.
sure he's 13.
That's so cool to know. Like, because again, before that, I did not see him. I'm sure he played the U Tour, the Evolution Tour, but I didn't see him play anything until on the stream. And I just, wow, what an impressive kid. Especially if he's 13, that just adds to it. But at any age, that kid can throw fire.
He threw a top 4 in the MVG Masters, and then he was top 8 in the JDC World Darts Championship. He lost to PJ. They had to face each other in the top 8, which is unfortunate, but both of them threw a 70-plus average. Both of them. Yeah. And PJ's 17. PJ's 17, and Ethan is, I believe, 13. That's just insane. Ryan, what were you doing at 13?
Yeah.
At 13, not playing darts, not overseas.
I wish just think of it though. That speaks volume. If they're starting to pick up the game now, and more of these youngsters are picking up darts. I mean, that's what happens in England. These kids are picking up the sticks at 8, 9, 10 years old, and it's just become second nature for them. I mean, we know Jules' story, but let's be honest. Jules was familiar with darts because he grew up in the Netherlands for a long time. There's no denying he knew what a dart was beforehand, so he was familiar with.
Well, you got to understand that these schools have clubs. They have school teams. Yeah, we have football teams. We have soccer teams. They have dart teams. You know, it's. Come on.
Exactly. And you know firsthand
we have like one or two.
Now.
Yeah, we have 1 or 2 clubs in the United States for darts.
All in Indiana.
But well, not all in Indiana, but I will say that
you know what I'm saying.
It's just honestly, this entire night, this podcast is going to be a celebration of North American darts, right? You have the WDF having the largest contingency going over there and playing. You have these kids who just did fantastic. Julian Aw did fantastic at the Worlds that we were talking about earlier. And then, you know, you get down to it. We have 5 North Americans playing in the World Darts Championship this year, which is the most we've had since I can remember. But I don't know the actual real answer to that, but it's been a long time since we had 5. It's a celebration of North American darts tonight.
The old systems with the embassy and the ADO, BDO, all the stuff back then, they had a lot more contingency from North American over there. But today, the avenue to make it to the finals, to World Championships, JDC, is so much more difficult, so much more challenging. I mean, you got entire countries that are prevalent now with, look at all the darts in Asia, look at the darts in Netherlands, look at the darts in England. United States is starting to come along. I mean, we just got a lot more availability because of our players are stepping up to the next level. Every one of them.
Right.
I mean, I know
iron sharpening iron.
We haven't seen we haven't seen those 100 averages out of our North American players, but we will.
Mm-hmm.
And we see them every once in a while.
I would agree with that. I think we're due for one of these guys to really be. I mean, you look at Matt Campbell. Matt Campbell is the one that's really standing out as doing stuff on the pro tour. He's really kind of throwing some stuff at these heavy hitters and showing what he can do. I mean, I believe he just took top 16 in the Players Championship, if I'm not mistaken on that number. Yeah, exactly. So that's something in your first year on the pro tour to do that. But moving on, guys. The CDC is our next topic here. Of course, we wanted to give Alex Spellman a little nod. We didn't have a podcast since then, so we want to, of course, congratulate him on his Continental Cup win. So he'll be at the U.S. Masters, next year in 2023 in June, step into the big stage. So congrats to him. And then moving on to the Cross Border Challenge, a new announcement from the CDC. It's going to be happening in April 21st and 22nd at the historic White Eagle Hall. Check out this, folks. This is pretty cool here.
Yeah.
This is really cool. I'm assuming they're going to play on the stage there and have the table set up just like the this looks kind of familiar to me as the Modus Super Series on a bigger scale.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this pans out. But getting into some logistics here, it's going to be a 16-player field.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Real quick, because Doug Bame's in our chat going, ouch, because we did not even mention him in the Continental Cup recap real quick. So he's not excited about that.
Go
so
ahead.
We
Go
need
ahead.
to. Listen, Doug was up 7-4 in the final in a race to 8. And then blew it big time. No, he threw so well, a 15 seed. When we did our podcast back at the beginning, we barely mentioned that matchup because we just thought Jacob Taylor was by far the favorite in that one, and then rolls through it. He almost averaged 106 in a match that I got to call with John Part. So thank you, Doug, for that. That's going to be a memory that I have forever, and 4 12 darters in a row might be a memory you remember for a long time at the Continental Cup. But hats off to no name Doug Bame. I just wanted to shout out for his runner-up finish, 15 seed. Would have been the second 15 seed to win the Continental Cup if he would have won one more leg. That's all he needed to do.
Hey, I'm glad you mentioned it because I was just gonna coast on through since it's been a month and a half since we've done another podcast. So I was like, maybe late news on the Continental Cup recap. That's I hope. I don't want to do you no harm there, Doug. You did play great, and maybe Doug's an individual that we get on the podcast here. Maybe sooner rather than later. I'd like to kind of broaden the horizon and get some more individuals on here, if not less.
Doug would be a great interview. He's a great guy.
Yeah, I've talked to him on several occasions. He does seem nice. All righty,
okay.
Well,
all right, back to the cross-border challenge. Now that we were so rudely not interrupted by Doug anymore.
Well, I'm getting so rudely interrupted by my dogs right now, and I'm trying to get them back upstairs. We'll see if the wife hears me or if she's putting the kiddo to bed or not. She's probably putting the kiddo to bed, and I'm getting.
She hears you, and she does not care. This is punishment for doing this podcast.
Not at all. All righty, folks. We'll get back into it. 16-player field, 8 from the U.S., 8 Canadians. Leonard Gates, Danny Baggish, and David Cameron are already confirmed in the field. The remaining competitors will be announced, any day now. They said it's going to be in December that the remaining competitors are going to be announced. So maybe in the next week, maybe in the next few days, we'll see that coming out for the championship dart circuit. Sean, what do you know?
That's actually, I'm so happy you asked me this question. And if Peter Cetera is watching along, he is laughing hysterically right now. I have no idea. What you just told me was more information than I knew before this podcast started. The fact that Gates, Baggish, and Cameron are already guaranteed in, no idea how that's confirmed or what that is. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited for this to be a live event. I think that we need it. I think it's that big step that's missing from, really generating not only a revenue, but also a larger dart fan base. Better than some, going to one of these big events makes you a dart fan because it's so easy to get involved and get celebrate with everyone. It's just a big celebration if we do it right, and I think that we can. And I think that I'm excited. I'm so excited for New Jersey. It looks like a great venue. I never saw pictures of the venue until you showed me them. I'm excited, man. I can tell you that much. Even if I'm not invited or I'm not there, I'm definitely not going to be invited as a player, that's for sure. But maybe they'll let me tag along like I have been this entire previous season with the CDC. But yeah, I knew less information than you did. I'm actually who's your source? That's what I want to know.
Hey, buddy.
Peter's Terra.
The internet, my man. The internet, my man. Just some more mentionables. USA will take on Canada in the first round. That'll be covered on day one. So that 21st, which I believe is a Friday, is going to be that day one coverage, USA versus Canada. Day two is the quarterfinals, semis, and the finals. So that'll be that Saturday. They do have tickets on sale if you're interested. So kind of look up champdarts.com if you want to be interested in those. You can get single day coverage or 2-day passes. It just depends on what you want to do. They have balcony, they have regular seating, and they have VIP section too. So pretty good deals there, pretty good deals. And the winner gets a berth into the U.S. Masters and North American Championship. So some pretty substantial things on winning this bad boy, as well as a $15,000 prize pool. Ryan, you ever played for 15? Well, you have, because you played at TOC before. So never mind, I've never had that feeling, but go ahead and rub it in for us, buddy.
I don't have anything to say. I'm excited for it. I am, because I think if you look at how the PDC started growing their roots was a few majors, and then they started adding like a Grand Slam, and then a Grand Prix. I mean, we got cross border, then we got Continental Cup. Then you have the regular tour. Before you know it, we might actually have 4 or 6 majors in the U.S. that are drawing crowds, that are building the fan base, that our players are becoming superstars over here. At least that's my opinion.
Well, we've
I
seen
hope so too.
This isn't something that we haven't seen them do before. I mean, the Continental Cup used to be U.S. versus Canada in the very first round. We've seen that happen before. So maybe they're kind of taken from that, but it does create another avenue of like a major, and that feeling of, hey, this is our big event, as well as the Continental Cup. Kind of creating that, hey, this is the UK Open, this is the match play, this is the World Championships, that kind of avenue for the CDC. So I do like it. Yes, there's some that are not interested in paying money to go see some of these guys play, but I think it does create there's a value there. There's some people that want to go see this, especially where they are holding it at. It's in Jersey. It's right next to a ton of players involved in the New York dart scene, as well as Boston's not too far away, let's be honest. So I'm interested to see how many players, and if they pack this thing, I don't know. Do you think they got a shot, Sean? Of course you do.
I'm going to say this. Well, I'm going to say this. I hope so. It better. It needs to. Darts fans, if you are wanting to grow this game in North America, it has to be something where you go to these events and pay money to see these players play. Yes, you can go to any big tournament around the country, and these players are probably there. And they're probably walking around freely, and you can probably go up and even get closer to them than you normally would at one of these events. However, guys, we have got to grow the game here. The only way to do that is to sell out these types of events. They're taking a chance by putting this on. We gotta make that count. We have to get tickets. So go to champdarts.com, get your tickets. If you're in New Jersey and New York, the surrounding areas, can drive there, Philly, get there. Enjoy this. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great time first and foremost. You're not just doing them a favor. You also get to see some great darts and have a great time. It's going to be a lot of fun. The louder you are, if you're that person in your local bar or establishment where people are like, man, I can tell that he's not here tonight, go. Be that person. Be that loud person who's there. Scream, yell at the top of your lungs. Drink, have a good time. Do what you would normally do. Now you're just having a party with a whole bunch of people that also love darts right around you. It's a can't miss if you just go.
There you go. There you go. We'll take it to our chat here. Jeremy Burns says, Moda Super Series, ? Might want to watch December 15th and 16th in regards to, I'm guessing, Leonard Gates will be in the Moda Super Series. I don't know if you saw it last week. They had David Cameron as well as Danny Lobby.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to see more and more of those North Americans involved in that Moda Super Series. And there's some value to that. Anytime you're playing with the sports betting app behind you, and a lot of money being thrown around behind the scenes, yeah, there's some value behind that one, let me tell you what. So if you haven't watched the Moto Super Series, definitely I encourage you to take a peek one of these days on YouTube, whether it be in the wee hours of the morning or wee hours of the night, because they do either or.
Yeah, that's true. How cool is it too, man? They took something that was a online live stream thing. They perfected it to a point where now it's on TV over there too. Now it's on one of their more local channels than Sky Sports, but it's on TV. Man, what a cool idea of something that they took time to grow over the course of 2-3 years, and it's turned into something big. I think that's really cool, and to see our players go over there and not only play in it but do well in it from time to time is really cool to see. And if those guys have nothing else to do, they might as well play Motus Super League for a week.
Yeah. What's your
Get
thoughts
that
on the
iron sharpen iron?
What's your thoughts on the Super Series, Ryan?
It's just another step. It's like if you go to car racing. I'll always use the analogy because that's how I grew up. You have your local tracks, then you had your regional stuff, and then you got into 3 levels of NASCAR: the Truck Series, the Busch Series, and then you got into the Windsor Cup. Now this is how it grew. So you got your local pubs, and you're starting into regional levels. We have the North American level of darts, which would be Continental Cup, CDC, national championships for the ADO. They got the PBD stuff. You've got the Phoenix Cup. Now these fans that are players are now watching our superstars playing a level of modus because it doesn't require a tour card. They get in, they play, they can compete, they can bet. Some get the chance to. And then all of a sudden, 5 North Americans are in the World Championships. Look at our youth teams playing over in the JDC. We're sending over 30 players to the WDF. Iron sharpens iron, but the local is starting to grow and expand. Now, buy your tickets, go to the cross-border challenge, be there in New York City to watch U.S. Masters, put the events on the map is what the next thing for North American darts. Because our players are there. Our players are good enough to beat the best in the world. We just need to support them to continue to go over.
There you go. I like it. I like it, Ryan. I really do. Steven saying, as long as the venues keep pricing reasonable, there will be a future in regards to the cross-border challenge. I like that mindset. And then a good question from Rob Mills. He said, years ago when the top English players would come over the U.S. To the U.S., Budweiser was a sponsor. Why haven't we been able to find any large sponsors? And that's a good question. We need a couple of those large sponsors to really grow things, and it would be great to get a DraftKings or a big sports betting platform to get involved in, because that's when you start to see the money really flow. Yeah, Budweiser's one thing, but we're starting to see value in other streams, and I think sports betting is the next big one. If we can figure out a way to get that going.
It's not legal in every state. You got to remember,
exactly.
It's not legal in every state.
Exactly.
So you can't grow Missouri as start DraftKings and sport betting fans when we can't do it here. But I can cross over to Kansas and use Will Stewart's home address.
Just be in the location, buddy. And that's the.
How do you tell us what you do without telling us what you do?
And that's true. I mean, well, we see like people are dropping Barstool Sports in there. Yeah, I mean, you're mistaken if Barstool Sports wasn't at the U.S. Masters, guys. I know for a fact 50 of them were. Like that. There's curiosity there. I mean, we're not far away from tacking on a couple with real value. I mean, if they hold an event, they're not afraid to hold an event just because some states don't have sports betting, because they know the other states are gonna find value in it. And I don't know. It's one of those things that if we can find a Pepsi or if we can find a big sports betting deal to get involved, we can really see some flow of money and maybe some help with travel in certain areas. Maybe we have a U.S. Modus tour. How cool would that be?
I think we all want it. I think we've got the player base for it, for that heavy series, that heavy money. It's like the CDC is making a hard attempt to get there. They're still in the growing stages. They got to get through the growing stages, and it's still growing stages. But look at the streams. Look at what we do. Look what the others are doing with their podcast. People are watching darts through the PDC TV app on a consistent basis. All of a sudden, Dart Connect pops up, and you're watching your favorite players play a match in a tournament or whatever. The fan base is building itself. It's just slower, but until it gets the full recognition on TV, on ESPN, unfortunately, we're still going to be on smaller scales, but smaller scales is growing itself.
Yeah, proceeding with the FTF numbers on our side with the viewership there. I mean, smaller scales can produce things. We just got to continue to ride it out, and hopefully that value will continue to increase. But moving on, a little
just
ad
keep supporting it. Keep supporting it.
Exactly.
You
got to keep viewing. You can't just ignore those little feeds that we put out. Hey, view this now, because once we get forgotten, we get thrown out the door. Is the key there. So, moving on, our December dart of the month for A to Z. The new R2 from 180, they're kind of new. There's some new darts in there. We've seen this system before. It's kind of an interchangeable point system, so you can use maybe some smaller points. Those thinner ones that do the little wobble effect, you can put those in here as well.
Don't even start with me.
Some people
burn
love it,
all of those.
Some people hate them. I'm not a fan. It sounds like Sean is not as well, but get them
I
at
love them to death. If they're on A2ZDarts.com, then I love them. They're my favorite.
Well, here we go.
Sell them out.
We want to chat about the WDF Masters because this guy alongside of us, what would it be? It would be this way. Yep, there we go. There we go. Ryan is going to be going to the Netherlands. Actually, tomorrow he'll be leaving around noon time, taking that old flight to the Netherlands, actually through Dublin to the Netherlands. Not to release your flight plan, but we kind of did. The WDF Masters is the oldest World Darts Championship with players in North America qualifying via the ADO and Canadian Darts Federation. It's going to be December 8th through the 12th, so literally a couple days away from starting. And man, we've got a ton of players from North America playing in this bad boy. 50,000 euros is the prize fund. So pretty good little prize fund. Men's winner will get 10,000. Women's winner 5,000. The boys winner 500, and the girls winner 250. Of course, you don't want to give them a ton of money because they can lose their amateur status. Of course, so we'll just give them a little bit. Give them a little bit. Help them out with the travel funds. This is the staggering part here that I'm going to say, because I said numerous North Americans. The U.S. has 93 participants. Canada has 77 participants going over. So, wow.
That's awesome.
What's your thoughts on that one? I mean, I'll go to Ryan first because you're going to be one of those 93. Ryan, what's your initial thoughts of just hearing that number of U.S. players and Canadian players going over? 170 players.
Well, here's my analogy. When you said that, I went, holy cow, there's a lot of folks there. But then I'm thinking, I'm going to know at least one person. But here's the great side of it is the international play will help our players over there, exposure to come back over here. And then like Sean's been saying, iron sharpens iron. The more exposure against different players, the stronger you come back, the more you get back on the board, the more you want to practice. You go to your national championships, you go to your next ADO sanctioned, your Phoenix Cup, whatever you're competing on a regular basis, and you're taking the players around you to the next level too. I got a message from Robbie Phillips. He's like, "Are you going over?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm pretty excited." He's like, "Well, it's going to be fun because it's going to be like a national tournament because we're going to know a lot of people." which is true. I'm going to know a lot of people in the room. So not like you're walking in there as the lone sailor. But here things come as a fan. Joe Cheney's playing. I can go watch him play. All right, Sawyer's up. Let me go watch him play. Oh, okay. Did you see how Robbie did? Did you see how Steven did? So now I'm like bouncing, men and women. Did you see Carolyn Mars won that match? So we're all going to be fans and players in the field at the same time, and that's going to be really, really exciting.
I would have to agree with you on that one, man. It is really exciting as we get my dog in here once again. Get out of here, Tito. It's the exciting thing because you can sit there and you have a support system behind you where normally when you're the North American over there or you're the U.S. player over there, maybe you don't get as much of a support system. Maybe it's just you playing that round match, or maybe you're going to turn around and you're going to see 3 or 4 players there watching you, supporting you on. That could be a big value behind you because maybe you don't feel like you're just the lone sailor when maybe the individual you're playing is from that home nation of Netherlands, and maybe they're getting a lot of support where you're not seeing it. Sean, what's your thoughts?
I just think it's so cool that we have that number of men, women, boys, and girls from the United States and Canada going. Again, today's podcast should be a celebration of North American darts as a general statement, and to have that many that qualify that's going over there, that's so cool, man. It's so cool. First of all, hats off to all of you that are taking the time for the money and everything else. The opportunity to go is great work. Ryan's great job on just committing to going. I probably couldn't be able to afford it if I got qualified for it right now. And to be able to figure that out and make your way over, that's so cool, man. So hats off to you. Hats off to everyone else who's going. I wish you guys all the best of luck. I'm excited to look at Dart Connect throughout the event. I don't know if there's a stream going. I hope so. Please tell me that there is.
I believe
Tell
so.
me.
I believe
Yes.
so. On YouTube is WDF and Tongues and Tails will have it, I believe.
Cool.
So yeah.
Well, I'm excited to root for all of my friends.
There we go. And yeah, you can watch it on Dart Connect as always. All those WDF events are through Dart Connect, so that's pretty neat to see. The official rundown: 37 men, 35 women, 14 boys, 7 girls for the U.S. Canada, 30 men, 35 women, 7 boys, 5 girls. Now those are invites, folks, so maybe not everybody attends, but most are. I can confirm that because I saw like the list from a couple people that said, hey, we're attending, because it's not just the WDF Masters. There's a couple other events. They've made this actually an event to go to, not just a one and done kind of situation like we've seen in the past, which is they've added value, which is really nice to see, because it used to be, hey, I'm going there, I'm paying a hefty amount of money, and maybe I'm getting ousted in the first round after a best of 7. And who wants to do that? Nobody wants to do that. So to lay it out for you, it's going to be a round robin best of 7 format for that initial WDF Masters. And you got 4 to 6 players in each group, depending on who shows up. And then it'll be into a knockout format, so it'll be best of 9 to the semis. It'll be 11, and then the finals will be best of 13. So there's your format. Now here's the interesting thing, because I didn't write this on our deal because I wanted to get your guys's. I don't know if Ryan knows this or not, but this is how they're doing the round robin. If you have a group of 4 or 5, you're playing on 1 board.
Yeah.
If you have a group of 6, you're playing on 2 boards. So your group is assigned to a board, and you have to play your round robin on that board. So talk about a full day of darts. That very well could be a pretty full day of darts. You could be sitting there for a good chunk, waiting on matches to cycle before you get back to the board. Ryan, what are you going to do to prep yourself throughout the day? Are you going to be kind of taking it easy? Or are you going to be maybe taking a chuck for 5 minutes, taking a break? How are you going to handle that? What's your thoughts?
Well, big shout out to Porky. I'm gonna probably do what Porky does: sleep in between each match. No, Gates has done it too. So those guys can win. So come on. No, actually, for me, it'll actually help me because of stamina is not coming in as strong for me as years past. I had a terrible year with heart problems, so I will play, then I will go sit down, then I'll warm up, or take whatever I can, play a match, go sit down. Of course, I've got a chalk in between, so you've got to pace yourself. You got to make sure that you do the things that hydrate, eat. You got to try to figure that out. It's not going to be as easy as that sounds. Sometimes your nerves get in the way, and you make mistakes, and then you rush up and you rush through a match. You've got to balance and use your experience. We've got several people in the field that are very balanced and very experienced. They'll break when they need to break, they'll warm up when they need to break, and they'll play well when it's time to play.
Kudos, man. I mean, I couldn't imagine playing in that format. I mean, of course, we played in your typical round robin with the ADO, but I've never done the kind of sit and wait mentality or the board style. So, yeah, I mean, it would be new territory to me, sir. It'd be new territory to me. But just real quick, there's the little Windmill World Masters slide for you. Big shout out to, of course, the WDF and the Netherlands for hosting this one, as well as Windmill for sponsoring this. So I wanted to mention that one before we go on any further. Now, there's going to be a couple more events, as I mentioned, in the field. So let's go ahead and mention those real quick. There's the WDF World Darts Open, which is straight knockout format. Best of 7. The finals is best of 9. And then there's the WDF World Championship qualifiers as well. So a couple events to get involved in. Ryan, are you going to be participating in anything besides the World Masters, or are you going to be foregoing that?
No, I actually have a lot of darts planned. I get picked up at the airport Wednesday morning. Danny Jansen is picking me up, and I've got some practice time with Christian Kirst and
the son-in-law,
and then Hannah. Yeah, the son-in-law. Well, so yeah, okay.
Sorry.
I'll be honest with you. So I've got practice time with Christian Kirst, Danny Jansen, and Hannah and I are all having some practice, and then Danny wants me to, after day one, we're going to do some other things, other tournaments in the Netherlands. So I've got a little bit more darts on my plate than I really expected, but it's a big experience for me. I just want to win one leg and hit one double, and I'll be fine.
Well, I wanted to ask you, you did mention to me previously that you were potentially going to go watch Danny at the World Darts Championship. Is that still a possibility? I know he's playing later than you guys assumed.
No, It all came down to when he was in the draw. So I could take off tomorrow and be gone till the 22nd of December, which is fine.
Yeah.
I may come back unemployed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, World Championships, unemployed, house payment, bills. Yeah.
It's all new. Speaking of which, new house for you. Kudos to you, buddy, as you're kind of in a new area. We did want to mention that. I forgot all about it. Kudos to you and the wifey on the new house as well. But
what a stupid, crazy year. And I took second with Will Stuart in a tournament recently.
We did.
Man, great job, Ryan. Ryan, that backpack you had to wear that entire time had to be huge.
Oh, no. I'm the one that put the saddle on him. I tightened the reins, and I spurred Will to the finals because this guy didn't know where the dartboard was at. I just closed my eyes and threw it. Now, Will, he was the slayer. He was taking people down left and right.
All right, I have to ask this question. I know this is getting off track just a little bit. Ryan, I'm not going to ask you this question because you're always good. But, Will, have you found doing commentary and taking time away from darts has made you a better dart player, like recently?
Yes.
Or...
Yes.
Because it has for me. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I've become a much better dart player just by not playing league and just doing commentary and not having to worry about it. I go to blind draws now. This past week I got a first and a second, and I never do that. So What about you? Seriously, I'm curious.
I think there's a lot, definitely less stress when you go to play, but there's definitely always that thought of, I could have hit that back in the day or whatever. But I definitely think that taking some time off and just being okay with the practice hours that you get, and maybe you get a little bit more than the couple hours that you got before, and you run with it and things go good. But like I always said, I think if I would have kept with the playing instead of streaming, I potentially could be a CDC tour card holder, and you never know what can happen there, But now, completely different ball game. Streaming takes the priority. That's the job. That's the livelihood. Playing comes like second, maybe fourth on the list. Don't let Hannah know I said second.
Yeah,
okay,
definitely not
do you
second.
understand how popular Will is? Do you understand how popular Will Stewart is? When
Get
Will
outta
Stewart
here.
runs in the room,
I know.
man, they line up, Sharpies, he's got to sign everything. I mean, it's
outta
autograph central.
Get outta here.
Then you add Sean Green to it. It's like Guppy. I'm the
don't bring me
Guppy.
into this.
These guys.
This is now a bloat show. Jeez.
Yeah, and I don't need to be on one of those. I'm large enough as it is.
Our viewership is spiking downwards.
Yes. Yeah.
So you guys, just so you guys know, the WDF World Championship qualifiers, 4 men will qualify, 2 women, 4 boys, and 2 girls for the spots up for grabs. So it'll be nice to see who ends up qualifying for their lakeside appearance there, whoever it may be. Hopefully it'll be a North American kind of shining through in each one of our events here. What do you got, Sean?
Sorry, I just wanted to mention real quick. Now that I'm thinking about it, if they do the round robin, 6 players in each group, that's that Modus Super League setup. They do a round robin for their nightly league matchup. So you can look back at the time that takes, right? 4 to 5 hours for them just to complete that. And it does include a little bit in between, but it's a long day. It's a long day, Ryan. You better get your rest.
Well,
Definitely so.
I actually, if you play a lot of soft tip, I mean, I'm throwing this out the right way. If you play enough soft tip and you do enough double elimination or triple elimination tournaments, and you go out of the gate and you win match 1, match 2, match 3, what do? You set.
Yep.
So, take some of that mentality. Like, I'll play when it's time to play. I'll rest when it's time to rest. I'll be ready when it's my time again, regardless if it's an hour away or 2 hours away. I do have heard over the years, like, well, I had to wait too long, that's why I lost. No, you weren't prepared to play when it was time for you to play. Now, I understand if it's 3 or 4 in the morning, no one wants to play. But if you're going into an international competition, let's say you had a timestamp that said you played at 9, you played at 11, you played at 1, then you played at 3. So guess what? You played, then you set. Then you got yourself prepared, you played, then you set. You got to have that same mentality going into this. You have to be prepared to play, you have to be prepared to chalk, then it's time to rest, you rest. Unfortunately, there's a lot of sports that this is what you do, this is how you compete. We, as dart players in the United States, we're used to trips, then singles, then doubles, and then draw, and you played from 9 o'clock in the morning to 1 o'clock at night, and you never sit down. So this is a little bit different. We'll see. Those that know how to rest and prepare, they'll play well. I guarantee it. And there's several in that field I got my eye on that can. I know of several people in the field that I've got my eye on that I've played darts against that I think will do extremely well.
Dynamite drop-ins from Mr. Ryan Mooneyham. I love it. That's exactly the thought you need to have, honestly, going into this bad boy. Moving on, Kazoo World Darts Championship. Boy, oh boy, it's that time.
Oh, here we go. I'm excited. Let me get my chair ready.
It's that time of year, gentlemen. It's that time of year. Going through the field, I'll pop it up here. Just some mentionables. Richie Edhouse taking on David Cameron. Winner of that will take on Danny Noppert. Gert Ninji's taking on Leonard Gates. Winner of that one will take on Stephen Bunting. Mike DeDecker versus Jeff Smith, making a dynamite. Speaking of, as I just said, dynamite, why not drop it again? Making a just a dynamite appearance in that qualifier and winning his spot into this bad boy. Last second appearance here from Jeff. Love to see it. Winner of that one will play Mensur Sulovic. And then how about this draw? Matt Campbell versus Danny Baggish. Winner will take on Mervyn King. Guys, of course that last one I said has to be the eye popper for you. That's just not right, is it?
No, I'm really looking forward to Gert and
I
Intez
hated to
and
see
Leonard.
that.
No. Yeah.
I did not want to see Campbell and Baggish. I want to root them on their own matches and maybe meet in a later stage. I don't want us to lose one of our players in the first round. I don't.
I agree with that. I think it's going to happen regardless for a couple. And if we look back at the history, at most maybe. But I think this is a new year, right? There's hope with this group that's going over there. For Matt Campbell, Danny Baggish, unfortunately, when you look at it compared to the rest of the list that are going, 2 of the 3 PDC pros that are playing in it, it's heartbreaking, right? From a North American standpoint. That being said, I love that it was possible, right? I love that he had a 1 in 8 chance of grabbing another North American player. It happened to be his really good friend Danny, but man, what a battle that's going to be. What a battle that's going to be. And I think we got a pretty good draw overall. Which one do you think got the worst draw out of those guys besides each other, Matt and Danny? I know it's tough, right?
Ooh, that is tough. I think David Cameron, because Noppert's the number 9 player in the world right now. I think that's going to be the toughest draw there for me. Yeah, that one's tough. Right. I think, but then again, Gert Ninjas is no slack, man. Gert is a player who's young. He's 24 years of age. He's played in the UK Open in 2018. I mean, he was young when he played in that. 20 years old when he played in that. He's played in the World Darts Championship before, so Leonard's got a task on his hands with Gert, and I love to think that he's going to get through that match, but it's going to be very, very difficult to get through that match. I think that's a very tough draw as well. I don't know much about Mike DeDecker, so I mean, let's be honest, Jeff hasn't been playing extremely well lately, but the qualifier was a different story, so maybe he's got the stuff to get through that one and take on Mensur, and you never know.
Mensur's doing terrible right now.
I like Jeff's chances. I think he'll get through that first one. Mensur just went through that, whatever you want to call that, last at the Players Championship with the double 12 and then a 12 and a 12. Maybe Mensur will take some mentality against it. Jeff Smith jumps out on him. I mean, those are happening. If Gates gets to Stephen Bunting. Did I read that right? If Gates wins, he gets Stephen Bunting. Okay, so I was thinking about that one, and when I looked at it, Gates is a good rhythm player. He can play with those fast players because Bunting will just rocket it up there. If Gates gets there, I think he could play with him. Mervyn King, whichever player from North America takes him on. I know he's had a good year with the senior side, yeah. So we'll see. I don't know.
I'll be honest. I think Matt Campbell has been producing the good stuff lately. He's going to get through Danny Baggish, and that Mervyn King match could be a big one for Matt. I think he could go through Merv pretty easily if he wanted to. Matt's the kind of guy he's not going to mess around in the hockey and cause Mervyn to do his typical BS and get upset. He's just going to play, and I think he can get through both of them. I'll be honest, with ease. That's tough to say, but
I like it.
Hope.
Good. Richie Adhouse has been playing really well recently. Yeah. That's all we want. We want at least one of these guys into the third round, and then anything can go, right? Anything can happen once they make it there, and we have 5 guys that have a chance to get there. I agree that Dave Cameron, I think, has the worst draw out of the 5. Danny Knopper's just on a different level, I think, and
Yeah.
we saw that last week when Matt Campbell played him. That being said, man, if Leonard, I like that matchup. I just don't. I have to be that American, and I have to say I just don't trust his counting. And over there, I just think it's gonna hurt him.
He did it.
I don't want to have a conversation about
again.
it. Yeah, I don't want to have a huge conversation about it because I'll say some things that, you know how we all feel. But I just, how we all feel. It's just his talent level is so good that he can.
Yeah.
If anyone's going to overcome it, it's going to be him. We'll see what happens. Jeff Smith, I think, has the best chance to make to the third round, followed by either Matt or Danny. Yeah.
Ooh. I'm going to be honest. I think this is, if I'm Matt Campbell, I'm looking at this draw and I'm thinking, I've got a real good opportunity to put myself into the 60s, 50s number on the order of merit here, if not a little bit higher than that. So,
Yeah,
we'll see
and Danny
what Matt does.
Danny has a lot on his plate here too.
He does.
Right?
He does.
Danny needs to win 3 or 4 matches, and we've seen when Danny has his back against the wall for something, he tends to produce some big numbers. So that might be something else that Matt's thinking about is, Danny seems to produce when he needs to. There's not better time right now.
Danny straight up told, I saw this in an interview, that he won't be retaining his tour card or trying to retain his tour card if he misses out. So a lot on the line for Danny Baggage. We'll see. Before we move on to our next topic, guys, because I've got a couple names written down here, of course, topic of discussion. What's your thoughts on Fallon getting in, fellas? What's your thoughts on Fallon? Sean, I'll start with you.
Okay,
Ryan
go.
looks like he wants to go. I was going to say.
Oh, I'm going to let Ryan go. Let Ryan go first.
Ryan, go ahead, Ryan.
Okay, all right. Before it even happened, before it even announced, it was all over Facebook. And it didn't matter who put it. It said, what will happen that is going to put Fallon in the World Championships? And then there was a lot of discussions, and it's a business, it's not a business, and then she's announced. So my thoughts are, if you're going to put the women's match play champion in the World Championships, you need to announce it beforehand instead of using it as a catalyst to put Fallon in. I also think that from the PD standpoint, when you're going to put people in the stands and you want to sell tickets to build prize monies and build a brand, you got Fallon in the field. You got it. From the business standpoint, it makes sense. For how they did it, they could have announced the winner of the women's match play got an automatic bid, and then no one would be talking about it.
She's definitely a name and a face of the PDC now. That's the key. Sean, I'll give you the floor. Go ahead, buddy.
I'm going to retort a little bit on the last statement about, got to have her in the field to draw those fans and whatever. Not anymore. Bo Greaves. Bo Greaves is going to draw so many more because of the chance that she has, right? She's averaging over a ton often. I don't care who she's playing. Willie O'Connor, we saw him versus Danny Baggish last year. He's a tough competitor. He's worried right now going against Bo Greaves. Bo Greaves hasn't lost a match in PDC Women's Series ever. She's 52 of 52. You just can't beat that. You can't beat that pedigree from a woman going into this. That being said, I feel like this is a lose-lose scenario for both the PDC, for Fallon. I'm surprised she agreed to play. I mean, I guess should I be? I don't know. It's tough. Hey, like from that
$7,500 tells you I'm going to that thing. Yeah, even if I know I'm drawing MVG first round, I'm drawing that thing.
She's gonna get hate. She gets hate constantly anyway, unfairly, 100% on social media. She just does, and it sucks. Yeah. Being the person in her position, it's just gonna happen that way. So I'm guessing from her perspective, who cares what anyone else thinks? She's excited to play, but I wish the PDC was more transparent ahead of time. I understand the reasoning for it. It's not Fallon's fault. Fallon's excited to play in it. We should be supporting the player that's playing in it. You can obviously disagree with the PDC's decision, but I mean, really is a fourth player that's in the PDPA Final 1 or whatever it is, really that big of a difference to Fallon being the fourth player in that. I think that, if Bo doesn't go perfect in the women's series, Fallon's in. If Fallon doesn't get pulled away for the PDC World Series events, Fallon's in. So fairly or unfairly, she's in the field. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for a matchup with Ricky Evans that I think is going to be a good matchup. I don't think it's a throwaway to put her in there at any capacity whatsoever with how she's been playing recently. She's had good averages and bad averages, but if the good average shows up, she can play the best of them on that stage, and so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch base and just say it's not Fallon's fault. Fallon's gonna make her. She's in a position of making money. She's a player. That's her what she does. So yeah, she's gonna accept the invite. She's gonna say yeah, that's her. But she's already been working with the PDC. She got the chance to go over and play in the U.S. Masters. She went to Australia and New Zealand and participated in all these events and got some money doing that as well. So they did kind of take away her opportunity to play in some women's series, which does kind of suck. I mean, let's be honest. But at the same time, they should have said this beforehand and said this was our intentions. They did a last-second deal. They changed the ball around and said, hey, we're throwing her in there because we spent all this money on this is how I look at it. We spent all this money on her. We gotta throw her in there and get our return on this. Which, let's be honest, nothing wrong with that. It's their event. Whatever they want to do. They're in the business of making money. Fallon's going to make some money for them, so you can't fault them on that. But I think we're all in the same boat. Be more transparent with how you're going to do things ahead of time. Now, I will say this. Fallon is a definite better player than some of those international players by far. So, I do look forward to seeing that.
No doubt.
Yeah. No doubt on that one. She's developed as a quality player. I think we're going to see a great match between her and Ricky Evans in that first round. I'm really looking forward to it. But we can't sit here and not have that discussion for a little bit.
No.
If we're darts players. And we got Scotty Burnett. We've got Steven in here saying some comments, which is great, giving their opinion on the matter as well. That's what we want. But this controversy creates a little bit of a value. People are going to tune in because of this controversy. Controversy is a good thing as well as a bad thing. So let's just remember that as well. Couple more mentionables. You mentioned Bo Greaves. We'll mention Bo as she plays William O'Connor in the first round. Do you think she has a shot at that one?
Oh yeah. Yes. I say she wins it.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, boys. She ain't winning.
No.
That match. She ain't winning that match. William O'Connor.
Oh, guys, mark down this spot in the podcast.
Mark it down.
All right. On this day.
Mark it down. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. She's a quality shot. But does the fact that this is going to be the biggest stage she's ever played on, the fact that she just got over dartitis, the fact that she's she's took on these women's series by storm, but now she's got a lot of pressure behind her. She's got a lot of people talking about her. William O'Connor is a savvy veteran. He's been in this situation. I believe he's played a woman on stage as well in Fallon. It's Fallon or Lisa. I'm pretty sure he has. And
I don't remember that, but
I'm pretty sure it was last year, maybe the year before, that he played a woman on stage. And maybe I'll look that up. But I think it's going to be close, but I got William winning that. I'll be honest. I'll be the one that says it.
So here's a question for you. This is set play. Has Bo Greaves ever participated in much set play, if any? I mean, straight legs is one thing. Set play is a different animal.
I don't know on that one.
At 18 years old, man, she has no fear. She showed no fear for her entire life of darts, right? Yeah, she's had the dartitis, but with dartitis, she was still averaging what she was averaging and winning what she was winning, which is insane to say out loud. I just don't see how I can obviously see her getting beat by Willie O'Connor. I'm not saying that, but I just don't see how she doesn't perform well and perform to a standard that is comparable to where she should be. Just because she's done it, she's had pressure on her for years and years because she's been the most talented person in her room and has just constantly delivered. I think that she might continue that. I don't know. We'll see. That's the beautiful thing about the World Darts Championship. We get these matchups, right? I can't
Yeah.
wait.
We get to talk
So
about
excited.
it and put our opinion out there.
Well, let's take another look at the field. You can kind of pick out some matches here if you like. One match that really, I'll say two matches that really. I've got a couple written down. Jim Williams, Sebastian Białowski is a match that I've got circled because Jim Williams, former BDO champion, Sebastian is a young 18-year-old kid from Poland. That just has an eye-popping affair to me. I think that's going to be a really close battle. Another one, a second-round matchup potentially, Colin Ridds taking on Josh Rock if Josh can beat Jose Gisteca. That one could be a potential great matchup. Colin can throw 100 averages, so can Josh. We've seen it recently. Another one, second-round matchup, Dirk van Dijvenbode versus potential Raymond Smith. That one, to me, just screams 100 plus for both individuals. We saw Raymond Smith last year in the World Championships. I think it make a run to the top 8, top 16 for sure. I believe, if you guys know that off the top of your head. But yeah, he made a great run last year. Let's see if he can do it again. He's throwing really well. He's actually playing in the Modus Super Series currently, as I just saw him step to the Aki on YouTube just a little bit ago. So. Any eye-popping matches for you guys?
I have one.
I'm going to give you do yours, and I'm going to give a super bold prediction.
Well, I got to give my son-in-law some shout-outs.
He's accepted it, pre-done, son-in-law.
Danny Jansen, I think he beats the gentleman from the Philippines, and then he is 1-1 against Krzysztof Rakowski. So Danny and I have already talked about that. I know he's preparing hard. He's playing hard. He's playing well. He's beat the crap out of me the few times I've been playing him lately. So we've been talking about a potential third round. Now, granted, he's got to get through his first round, and then Rakowski, he's won against, but he's also got beat pretty good by. So that's my shout out for my match that I'm also watching outside of the North American players.
Has he got enough product for his hair for the World Championships?
I swear to God. Look.
Man, you should. I thought you were gonna have like a wig mullet underneath there. You should get one just for fun.
Nope. You need to get your mullet too, buddy. You need to get your mullet too. All righty, last thing.
One, interested?
All right, so I wanted to give my bold prediction.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, yep.
Can you put back up the bracket real quick?
Yes, sir.
Quarter 3, that you see Peter Wright, Kim Hybricks, and all them. Mm-hmm. The top 8 match of the finals of that quarter is going to be Josh Rock versus Dimitri Vandenberg.
Dimitri's kind of throwing off and on. I think the new targets are something he's still getting used to, but I could potentially see that.
He could get beat by Robbie John Rodriguez too, but
yes. Yep.
That's what I see. Johnny Clayton obviously is probably, even with Peter in that side of the bracket, and I'm a huge Peter Wright fan. I just don't see quarter 3 going his way at all. I think it's either Josh Rock or Dimitri. It might be Johnny Clayton. But those are my 3.
Third quarter is where you want to be, I think, in this bracket. Peter Wright, unfortunately, having the issue with his wife in and out of the hospital, so we do wish him and her some well wishes. But you look at Johnny Clayton not throwing the best of late. Nathan Aspinall, the one really individual that kind of pops out there after just being the Grand Slam finals. But yeah, I think you're right there. I think that potentially could happen. All righty, so last thing before we get going here. Current order of merit, gentlemen. Gerwin Price, Peter Wright, Michael Van Gerwen, Michael Smith. Number 5 is Luke Humphreys. Not everybody knows that one. Luke coming storming through. Number 6, Rob Cross. Number 7, Johnny Clayton. Number 8, James Wade. 9's Danny Noppert. 10's Nathan Aspinall. 11's Gary Anderson. 12, Dave Chisnell. Who's your Premier League lineup? Ryan, let's hear it.
You're going to have your people that are going to sell tickets, your Gerwin Price, your Peter Wright, your Michael Van Gerwen, your Johnny Clayton. Those are your 4 that are going to be there because of who they are. Michael Smith, of course. We talked about Danny Noppert being in there. I'm a big fan of James Wade, James Wade, Rob Cross, but we've all kind of discussed in the background that we don't think one or both of those guys will be in there. I think they're going to decide the first 6, and then they're going to pick out the 2 best finishers from the World Championships. That's what I think.
Sean?
I know 4 for sure. They're going to put the 4 in because of fan favorites.
Yeah, I think the top 4 is locked in myself. Top 4. Mm-hmm. It usually always is. Yeah.
I think if one of the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 guys, whichever one finishes best in the World Darts Championship, I think gets a spot out of those guys. I don't see how you can skip over Rob Cross 2 years in a row after last year doing it and kind of getting a little bit of backlash from some people about that. I think Luke Humphreys has earned his spot being number 5. Johnny Clayton, I think, is too. So I really only see that one spot up for grabs. And, man, I got to be honest with you. With Wade, Noppert, Aspinall, kind of my top 3 there, I don't see how it doesn't skip to Aspinall just because he was in the finals last year of it. He was kind of a late ad last year. It just seems like the type of spot where I don't know if he'll drop out due to injury purposes or whatever, if that was part of his injury situation last year. Same thing with Gerwin Price, right? He talked about how terrible that schedule is. I mean, what if he doesn't accept?
There's no way.
It'd be crazy if he doesn't.
Yeah.
Or crazy if he does. But I'm just saying, I see Aspinall as that last spot. I like Noppert. I'm not a huge fan of James Wade when it comes to how he is as a fan favorite type of player. He just, man, from his clothing to his style of play, it's tough for me with James Wade. But yeah, Aspinall's my spot there. I don't know, but I have no idea. Depends on how the worlds go.
So for me, it does depend on how the worlds go because a lot of places can be won or earned. I mean, somebody from that potential top 16 could make their way into the top 3. Into the top 3.
If one person out of this wins the World Darts Championship this year, they're obviously in, right?
Yep.
So it's tough to make that decision based on
for
a couple of those spots.
For me, currently, it's going to be Gerwin Price, Peter Wright, Michael Van Gerwen, Michael Smith, Luke Humphreys, Johnny Clayton, and Danny Noppert. That's who I've got in the Premier League. I think that Rob Cross will get ousted. I think James Wade will be kicked aside. And I think the other ones are out as well. So that's who I've got. That's my personal take. We'll see. Like we said, one individual can win this bad boy, and then everything changes. So we'll see. For future events, guys, how about for Steel Tip? Buckeye Open is next weekend. Wanted to mention that one. Missouri Open right around the corner in January. And then we have the Las Vegas Open, which will be streaming live there from the Tuscany Suites and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. Looking forward to that one. And then, soft tip wise, we've got the PPD DRTs, Daily Remote Tournaments. We've got the PPD Nationals coming up. And the 16th, 17th, and 18th, we'll be bringing you guys some coverage of that one live on USA Darts as well as the Partners Promoting Darts page. And then don't forget about those Booyah Cup qualifiers as well. So wanted to mention those from Mr. Jeremy Byrne. Come be a part of that one because we'll be streaming that March 10th through the 12th. As you can see there, our full beginning of the year list for our live streaming events there. So lots of action coming your way in 2023. Well, guys, that's going to do it. That was an awfully long podcast. We could win an hour and a half this week. That's crazy.
We sure did, man.
Well, we missed
had
a month
2
and a half.
podcasts in one. We had to bring some other stuff in, and Something about a
And Sean asked
charger
stupid
for a
questions, and we got
laptop.
off task.
You got 3 people that are long-winded. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Thank you guys for joining me. I always appreciate you. Ryan, we're going to give you a nice little send-off here, sir. Good luck to you as you make your way to the Netherlands. Hope you enjoy it. First time going to the Netherlands? How many times have you been over there?
I've never been overseas.
This is going to be an experience for you, sir, and what a way to do it. You probably meet
To the
Marco,
first of many for the
Danny.
Netherlands visits.
Yeah, exactly. That's the first of many.
I feel like I'll be spending a lot of time in the European market to visit folks.
I love the way he puts
That you
it.
love, right?
I love the way he puts it.
Well,
That's great.
yeah, I'm here's where I have it that others don't. Danny will pick me up at the airport, and then I will stay with Danny's family the entire time I'm in the Netherlands. We're only 35 minutes from the venue for the entire time. So it'll be family time, it'll be darts, then it's going to be able to break away and see some things. So it's good, it's exciting. It wouldn't have been able to happen if it wasn't for several things coming in my direction the right way. I mean, several things came together to do this for me. So it's been pretty surreal. And then I'm thinking, holy cow! And then I got to come back and go back to real life. Okay.
Well, go over there and
Buy a
show
house.
everybody that commentators can still play darts too.
There we go. There we go.
I don't know. I rode. Will Stuart invites me to a tournament, and I just sit there and followed him around, carried his dart case, and scored 26 when he needed me to.
Get out of here. Get
Well
out of here.
done.
Team effort. Team effort. Sean, any final words for you, buddy?
No, man, guys, thank you for having me on. It was, I've missed you, Will. It's been, way longer than we've ever, I think, gone without talking. And of course, Ryan, obviously, I always miss you. You're much easier to talk to than 98% of the other people I have to talk to on broadcast or anything like that. I'm just saying. But no, man, congratulations for making it and good luck over there. And I'm excited that you get to have that family time too, because that's super cool that you have that experience that others going over there won't have, just because of you get to take that as a family opportunity as well. So I'm excited for you. I hope you have a great time no matter what.
Yeah. Kudos.
I just got to get past the jet lag.
That's it. The jet lag's going to be the big thing. I haven't experienced it yet, but I'm going to. Sooner rather than later. Well, thank you all for tuning in to our live version of the Bullshooting podcast here on Facebook and YouTube. If you haven't tuned in live, definitely do so, as we'll be getting this on our audio platform in the next day or two. So for you audio listeners, come on by for the live version on our Facebook and YouTube. We definitely appreciate you joining us. If you want to get a nice jersey, maybe the one like I'm wearing that's nice Hawaiian, or the Boom Goes the Dynamite jersey that Sean has there, go over to magicwear.com, or a nice Nike from Dick's Sporting Goods.
It's in the golf section.
Like Ryan Mooney has. Love it. Well, good luck, Ryan. We'll see you next time, buddy. Look forward to doing a couple more of these within the next month, so stay tuned. More Bullshooting podcasts coming your way here on USA Darts. Thanks for joining us. From Ryan Mooneyham, Sean Green, William Stewart, we'll see you next time, guys.